We are cutting across live to President Donald Trump's address.
A stop posed by the world's #1 state sponsor of terror. Tonight I can report to the world that the strikes were a spectacular military success. Iran's key nuclear enrichment facilities have been completely and totally obliterated. Iran, the bully of the Middle East, must now make peace. If they do not, future attacks will be far greater and a lot easier. For 40 years, Iran has been saying death to America, death to Israel. They have been killing our people, blowing off their arms, blowing off their legs with roadside bombs. That was their specialty. We lost over 1,000 people, and hundreds of thousands throughout the Middle East and around the world have died as a direct result of their hate. In particular, so many were killed by their general, Qasem Soleimani. I decided a long time ago that I would not let this happen. It will not continue. I want to thank and congratulate Prime Minister Bibi Netanyahu. We worked as a team like perhaps no team has ever worked before. And we've gone a long way to erasing this horrible threat to Israel. I want to thank the Israeli military for the wonderful job they've done. And most importantly, I want to congratulate the great American patriots who flew those magnificent machines tonight, and all of the United States military on an operation the likes of which the world has not seen in many, many decades. Hopefully, we will no longer need their services in this capacity. I hope that's so. I also want to congratulate the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Dan Raisin-Kane, spectacular general, and all of the brilliant military minds involved in this attack. With all of that being said, this cannot continue. There will be either peace or there will be tragedy for Iran far greater than we have witnessed over the last 8 days. Remember, there are many targets left. Tonight's was the most difficult of them all, by far, and perhaps the most lethal. But if peace does not come quickly, we will go after those other targets with precision, speed, and skill. Most of them can be taken out in a matter of minutes. There's no military in the world that could have done what we did tonight, not even close. There has never been a military that could do what took place just a little while ago. Tomorrow, General Kane, Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth will have a press conference at 8 a.m. at the Pentagon. And I want to just thank everybody, and in particular, God. I want to just say we love you, God, and we love our great military. Protect them. God bless the Middle East. God bless Israel. And God bless America. Thank you very much. Thank you.
And that was the much-awaited press briefing by President Donald Trump after America carried out those strikes against Iranian nuclear sites, 3 Iranian nuclear sites in particular. And some of the key takeaways of what President Trump said. First, the strikes have been very successful against the Iranian nuclear sites. He referred to Iran as the bully of the Middle East, and he says that Iran must now make peace. U.S. President also clarified that the nuclear facility and enrichment facility of Iran have been completely destroyed and obliterated. He also referred to the history of violence by Iranian authorities, soldiers and forces in the past decades in the region and across the world. Deaths to America, deaths to Israel as the chant that was common, he says, by Iran. Also has said that the threat to its key ally in the region in West Asia and Middle East, Israel, has been permanently removed with these strikes on the nuclear facilities in Iran. U.S. President further says he congratulated the team, the soldiers, American soldiers who carried out the attack. He once again emphasized on peace. He says that this should now bring the conflict in the region to an end. However, he said that if it does not, further tragedy for Iran could in fact follow. He warned that America could go after other targets in Iran if Iran does not make peace at this point. It's important to note this briefing was coming, the address to the nation was coming after the big development, America targeting three key nuclear sites in Iran, which President Donald Trump, in the latest briefing, has said that the key nuclear sites have been destroyed in the strikes that have happened, and Iran must now make peace. DD India correspondent Amritpal Singh is joining us now. Amrit, we just heard American President Donald Trump speaking. In fact, we're now joined by international affairs expert Ambassador Prabhu Dayal. Ambassador Dayal, good morning and welcome. First comments, what do you make of President Trump's address to the nation, what he just said?
Good morning. This is a huge development. President Trump says that he had authorized the dropping of bunker-busting bombs on the three most important nuclear sites in Iran, Fordow, Natanz, and Isfahan. The US claims that the strikes have been successful and that all its B-2 bombers and escorting fighter jets have safely returned to their bases. Now, you'd recall that President Trump had said that he needed 2 weeks to make up his mind about entering the war and that he was giving Iran enough time to make a deal. Perhaps this was just a ruse to mislead Iran. The US entry into this war between Israel and Iran with its nuclear dimension is, as I said, a huge escalation of the conflict. The Iranian Revolutionary Guard Command is unlikely to surrender and is expected to keep on fighting with the imminent risk of the shipping through the Hormuz Straits being severely affected and perhaps even stopped altogether for a while. Now, this will have a huge impact on global oil supplies. Now, at the same time, Pakistan's timing of nominating President Trump for the Nobel Prize is also significant. For if the war expands, reopening of US air bases in Pakistan next door to us is just a matter of time. So there could be more trouble ahead. The question following the US strikes is how Iran will now react. This is a very important moment for Iran and for the relationship between Iran on one hand and Israel and the United States on the other. So it carries potentially huge implications for the security of the region. There are around 40,000 American troops stationed in this region. They will be on very high alert. Yesterday, the Iran-backed Houthis in Yemen threatened that they would resume their attacks on American ships in the Red Sea if the United States got militarily involved in Iran. So now there would be a fear of retaliation from the Houthis, from Iran directly, and how the American military assets will fare, whether they will be in any danger or whether this danger will be averted. So, of course, the overall question now is how Iran will retaliate towards Israel and towards the United States. The Israeli Defense Forces have issued a statement stepping up the state of alert. So the entire region is now in a state of anxiety. There are lots of question marks, not just for the Middle East region, but perhaps for the wider world. And let us see how things shape out.
Right. Ambassador Prabhu Dayal, given that the hostilities between America and Iran and Israel are decades old, just want to draw your attention to the words that President Donald Trump used. He, of course, refers to the destruction of the nuclear sites, but he also says that Iran has been the bully of Middle East, refers to decades of aggression by Iran in the region and against American and Israeli sides. I'm just trying to understand, with decades of hostilities, why did America or President Donald Trump choose this moment to launch the strikes?
You know, I think it's a very well-planned effort. First, the Israelis attacked in a big way, and they had already weakened Iranian defenses in October last year. And now, again, their attacks had further weakened Iran. So I think the Americans had set up Iran as a target. And of course, the kind of deal which was being offered to Iran was something that Iran was never going to accept. It really amounted to Iran accepting that there would be zero enrichment of uranium on its territory. So the ground was set, and the Americans really were waiting for the right moment to strike. And with the weakening of Iran, I think they felt that this was the right moment. Now, I may add that I've served both in Iran and in the United States. In Iran, I was deputy to the ambassador in the early 1990s, and then I was consul general in New York. And I've seen the great hostility between the establishment of Iran and the US establishment. As President Trump said in his speech, there used to be chants in Iran, death to America, death to Israel. And I've heard these chants at so many protests which were staged all over Tehran when I was posted there.